before I even knew how to DJ, I was at Cornell randomly. My friend went to college there, and he was like, yo, you want to come out to this frat party? I was like, sure. So I was like, great, like, let's do it. I get there, and he's like, surprise, like, can you DJ the party on, like, 2 iPods?
What's up, Rice Cooker? Today we have the homie Amanda, but y'all may know Amanda as s2sx, which I remember as like size 2 extra small. Is that bad?
That's fine. It's for Slow Shutter, Extra Spice, which is 2 other projects of mine.
No, I'm pretty
incredible.
Sure it's
if it's size 2 extra
size
small,
2 extra small. I'm
great.
Pretty sure. I need a lot of mnemonic devices to get by in life.
Honestly, same.
None of this happens.
I'm just happy that you know it, and if however it works for you, that makes me happy. So
there you go. Well, thank you for sitting in the rice cooker. Welcome to what is affectionately referred to as the lesbian Ghibli cottage.
Oh, love.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, like a warm hug.
Yes, definitely. I felt that when I walked in. Yeah.
So I know you as S2XS. You rock the pants off of parties. Thank you for coming into my home.
Of course.
Making me feel inept on my own equipment.
Oh my God, stop.
Thank you so much for that. But we actually love it. Like we my wife and I, we love having people over, and we honestly do this for the free concert because economy's tough right now. We just trick people into giving us concerts.
Yeah, honestly, great idea and plan. Like, here I am, you know, like you've gotten 2 other incredible people in so far. Like, just keep the concerts coming. Like, why not?
So I like to talk about where I encounter DJs in the wild, and it was actually Frank Javc had played with you before. I think had played with you and Rachel before on some gigs, and was just like, "Yo, we gotta get Amanda down to Long Beach." And so here we are, and I'm fully versed in your capabilities of rocking dance floors. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but you had mentioned some of your influence being particularly Floridian.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I'm from Miami originally. I grew up listening to the radio when I would like be in bed when I'm like, 7, 8 years old. I'm supposed to sleep. I had this tiny little radio, and I would put it under my pillow and then just listen to that because I couldn't sleep. And they had the most amazing stuff on. Like Miami Bass was like pretty much always playing, like tons of incredible parties. Like DJ Laz would just be like DJing on the radio, and I just loved it, I would like hear the crowd in the recording too, so it'd be like Power 96 live from Cafe Iguana, and you'd hear people be like whoop, whoop, like in the background, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I had no idea what it looked like or what it would be like to be there, but I got into the music, and I just started whenever I'd go to like go on LimeWire or Kazaa or something like that, I would just like look for
Share Bear,
like P2P, any P2P thing. I would just be rating
Audio
people.
Galaxy.
Yes. Audio Galaxy. No, I feel like there were so many places where you could look at people's catalog, like their library, and I would just go to my neighbors. It would be like this person at this, location on the street, and I would just go through and download all the stuff they had. That
was the thrill of like kind of the post Napster days,
yeah.
And I feel like a very formative time for formative time for DJs. I think I still have some like 128 files from Napster somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first song you downloaded?
Yes.
What was it? It's okay. This is a safe space. Please.
It was the Limp Bizkit cover of Faith by George Michael.
Absolutely. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, do you love that song? Because I still love it to this day, and I realize it is a polarizing track.
No. You sort your friends with that. You're like, you don't like Fred Durst? Get out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I wasn't even a Limp Bizkit fan or anything.
No one's a Limp Bizkit fan.
I just like,
you're a fan of the culture.
I just saw the song. I was like, huh. And I just I was like, you know, a kid. And I just thought it was so sick when he'd be like, you know, he sung it was very clean singing for the first part, very like bouncy fun over, you know, just more like pop punky kind of drums. And then went into new metal at the drop. And he's just like, you're gonna have faith. And like, I loved it. I listened to it all the time on my like pre-iTunes or pre-like iPod MP3 player. It was like a little like off-brand MP3 player. I had 12 songs. That was one of them.
That's all that fit on there. It was 12 songs.
12 songs.
It was,
was
2 megabyte.
Yes. Yes.
I want to say my first download from Napster, my wife Maria was probably there when I was downloading it because we had just started. I think Napster is why we got together.
Oh my God.
We had just a shared love of pirating music.
I love that.
But it
That's
was
so romantic.
the first Napster song I loaded was Janet Jackson from, was it the Nutty Professor soundtrack?
Oh my God.
Doesn't matter if doesn't matter if that like so gangster.
Yes.
That pop song was my first. But it was Janet. I had to have it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Like, that's
I was like, I need a 128 file. These 96 files are bullshit.
I hated 96. Whenever I would get 96, the worst, honestly, was when you'd get a 96 and you're like, I'm just going to be okay with this. And then
Till I get a better one.
Yeah, till I get a better one. And then it would do the thing where, like, it would be all, like, corrupted. And it would be like...
The compression's all...
Yeah, and it would just be like, it would stop and make noises. Like, they put those out on purpose to keep people from downloading them. And it would be like, not only is this terrible audio, but it's also, like, these, like, weird sounds just, like, killing my ears right now. But... You know, you had to do what you had to do at the time.
Those were survival days.
Yeah.
Tell me about your early days, like, actually DJing and, like, I feel like everyone has a moment where you're, like, vibing with the floor. Like, describe one of your early vibing with the floor and I love this feeling moments.
Ooh. You know, funnily enough, before I even knew how to DJ, I was at Cornell randomly. My friend went to college there. He was like having a party to like kick off the year as a frat party. And he was like, yo, you want to come out to this frat party? I was like, sure. I had like a week off between my summer job ending and my work study job starting. So I was like, great, like, let's do it. I get there and he's like, surprise, like, can you DJ the party on like 2 iPods? And I was like,
was it a unit where you put into iPods?
No,
or
I wish it was literally just...
Do you remember that, though,
I do
visually?
Remember that. I remember that,
it was a mixer,
yes.
and you stick 2 iPods in there, and you go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never played on one of those, but I saw them, and I thought they were incredible.
Oh, I want one so bad now.
Yeah, we should try and find one.
I think we should.
Rice cooker iPod edition.
Sequel episode.
Yes. But
you did it on iPods.
I did it on iPods. Not even for that long. It was like maybe like an hour or something, and it was just so fun because like I love hip-hop, and I like just everything I was into, I was playing. People were going crazy, and then I like played a little Latin stuff from Miami, and I was like not really sure what people were going to think, and everyone went nuts, and I was like, this is the greatest feeling ever. I need to learn how to DJ. And at that point, you know, I've been doing music, like making music and performing music for a whole, you know, lifetime. Like I started when I was really young, and I'd been like messing around on GarageBand and like just trying to like, I didn't realize I was making edits at the time, but I was like manipulating tracks and just like playing with production. So I didn't even DJ again until like a few years later, but I remember it being in my mind, it's like, I want to learn how to do this. I wonder how I can do this. Looked up the equipment, everything was expensive. I was like,
that's always how it feels at first. Yeah. And then you get older and you realize, oh, that was a $2 mixer. I should have gotten it. Should have bought that.
Maybe should have gotten that used like on Craigslist. But yeah, the first time I think a crowd that I was like playing really like cool experience was when I played this show in the Lower East Side called it was like Guilty Pleasures, like Throwback Thursdays, and my friends organized it, and they were all promoters and didn't really DJ, and they were like, do you want to come and DJ? Because at that point I DJ'd like a few different things, like had been playing like loft parties, like was playing like corporate stuff for my previous employer, like was like, okay, like kind of getting into it. No one really like grooving out though yet. Like I was still like more background music DJing. Yeah. And that party I could play like all the stuff I grew up with and loved. as a kid. So it was started at 8 p.m. We'd close usually between 2 and 4.
Yeah.
And
as long as the drinks were selling.
As long as the drinks were selling and we got a portion of the bar. And yeah, I would just come in and I'd play stuff. The only rule was it had to be more than 10 years old. And yeah,
that's not too bad.
That's
not hard to accommodate.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, like, you'll hear a song right now and be like, the song is how it's 15 years old?
It's how old?
15 years old?
Yeah. I remember playing Umbrella, though, on a night where it had rained. And everyone had their umbrellas and popped the umbrellas in the club. And I got a video of it, too. It's like a very grainy old iPhone video. But it's literally like everyone being like, umbrella, umbrella. And I was like...
Okay, first of all, anyone can pop bottles in the club. Yeah. But only you can pop umbrellas in the club.
I'm sure it's happened to other people besides me, but I was proud. I was like, okay, I think I'm getting good at this. I think I know what I'm doing a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love playing for the crowd. I will say, like, I come in to every experience when I'm DJing with, like, the intention of making the party fun. You know, like, I feel like I love, like, the idea of, like, scanning the room and seeing, like, someone, meeting someone that they're, potentially going to date one day, or like just watching friends like have a memorable night out together. Like, to me, that's like just as much why I do it as finding music. Because I will say, like, my other big like love is just like finding new music. Like, I could crate dig literally all day long. Like, I love that. So
it gets obsessive. It will keep you digging in crates, looking for the perfect playlist, the feel, the thing you want to say or communicate is a thing that keeps DJs up at night. Literally.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it has kept me up at night. Like, where I've been like, these two songs work really well together in a narrative flow, but there needs to be something in between
to glue it together.
From this, yeah. And I just love that. And that's like, I think, when I can see the crowd really enjoying themselves and I'm able to play stuff that like isn't something they've heard before, if I can drop something that's like, an unreleased track of mine or one of my friends and like people are feeling it, like that's one of the best feelings, because you're just like, oh, I'm like introducing you to a new song right now and you're loving it and you're like open-minded enough to like be here for it. Like, I feel like that just creates like a really nice like ephemeral connection like across those space,
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that DJs want to control a dance floor, but it's really just like seeking a little connection, like here and there, until all of the little networks are connected, and you see it happen like gradually throughout the night.
Totally. That's such a good way of putting it. Like, it really does feel like an ecosystem, and an ecosystem.
It feels like you're lighting a little candle here, and then that person lights someone else's candle. Like, that's kind of how things should trickle down on a good dance floor. Yeah,
definitely. And I think like you'll watch people too, like let their guard down, and I think that makes me really happy, because I'm someone who, like, if I'm at a show and music's playing that I like, I'm dancing. Like, as a DJ, like,
if I'm at CVS, and there's a song that I like,
I'm dancing.
I'm also dancing. I'm literally there to get like, some milk of magnesium for my indigestion, because I'm old. But I have time to drop it. If you play Finally by CeCe Peniston at a CVS,
yes.
It's 4 p.m.
Oh, I'm
dropping it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, same. I feel like it's something I just cannot help it. Like, it feels weird to just stand there. And as a dance floor attendee, I feel like I also like do a lot of what I do DJing, which is just kind of like opening like the door to like having a fun time. I'm like, you don't have to dance with me. You don't have to dance at the same time as me, but because I'm dancing, maybe you'll find that kind of space to dance if you feel like it. And it is something that I feel like, we lose a lot of that in like modern times. Like, I feel like, growing up as a kid, like going back to like Miami days, like, I mean, I went to parties when I'm in like 5th, 6th grade where it's like a basement party or like a garage party and everyone's,
That's just like growing up brown in California.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
if you grew up brown, you're going to end up, you're 5 years old, you're in a garage with a DJ because that's what we do here.
Yes, I feel like among the like Miami Cuban community, like across all shades, it's like if you're Cuban in Miami, you could be white Cuban, brown Cuban, black Cuban. You are going to be at a party like this. Like, and I feel like it's something where, you know, that for me was so fun because it was very freeing. Like, you know, it was dark. You could kind of just like figure out how to dance, figure out how to move, figure out how to be with people. Like, I like kind of scanning, you know, if I'm in a new situation where I'm not really sure how things are going to be. Like, for me, it's comforting to be like, I'm not going to be like all eyes on me immediately. Like, I like big crowds because I'm like, I can get a sense of the vibe and like.
There's safety and anonymity too, socially.
Yep.
So
That's how I've always felt. Like, I mean, it's why I love cities. Like, it's like very anonymous in a safe way, and I appreciate that. But yeah, being at parties like that, I feel like, you know, I watched like everyone just let loose. There was no one's taking pictures, no one taking videos, no nothing. And nowadays I feel like people want to have more freedom like that, but can sometimes be self-conscious.
Yeah.
And something I've been talking about with some friends who are DJs also recently has been like Boiler Room and like the Lot Radio and you know, all these different like streams where you watch people dancing.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, like this like is such a vibe. Like, and no phones on the dance floor. That's like the rule at some places. And that kind of thing, I think, like allows people to really engage with not just the music more, but themselves and one another. Like, it's just nice to have that experience. Like,
you had mentioned something earlier that I thought was a really great point. I always like to talk about things when people have questions. People always have questions when they start to DJ, how to DJ, and sometimes I feel like people are like starting backwards. And you mentioned like as a dance floor attendee. And I feel like one of the biggest, most obvious mistakes I see people making when they're starting out their DJ careers or wanting to do it is that they don't go out. They are experiencing DJ culture through social media and through YouTube. Yeah. And if you don't know what it feels like to be moved on a dance floor, then how are you going to get there to move other people? And also, like, if you're not in a community, subculture, something, like, that's your crew that's going to lift you up, that's going to book you. You need to find that crew or you need to form that crew. And it's not going to happen on your phone. No. And that's a very simple thing. Like, I don't know if you encounter people asking you about things, but then you don't see them out on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, a bit. The thing is, I can be... It's funny because I do consult people on, like, consult businesses on their social media usage, but the way I approach social media is very much like I don't, like, follow the rules of it, and I, like, feel like when people will hit me up on, like, DMs, I'll be like, let's talk about this in person, because, like, I'm just gonna be way better in person, like, than, you know, doing that. And so, yeah, I'll get questions here or there, and I'll answer them, you know, if it's something short and, you know, something, like, easy, like, oh, like, where's the effect to do this? I'm like, oh, it's this. Fine. Yeah. But to be able to hang with someone and really be able to just get into a bigger conversation, I feel is so much more fruitful, both for, you know, them and for myself. Because, like, I'm curious about this person. I, like, want to support people who are learning how to DJ. Like, I've done lessons, you know, for DJing, songwriting, producing. Like, I love teaching. I think it's really fun to, like, watch someone figure something out. Like, one of my favorite gigs when I did corporate DJing in Seattle was I DJ'd Adobe's Family Picnic. And
that sounds so wholesome.
It was so wholesome.
Oh, cut, paste wholesome.
It was incredible. And all these little kids are like in the front row, like going crazy.
Pump it, mom and dad.
Yeah. And I like keeping like, this better be the clean version of this song. Just like when because it was bright out, I'm like looking at the like.
Yeah. I was like, does it say radio edit?
Yeah, like radio edit, please. But yeah, I had these little kids that were coming up, and one of the parents was like, do you mind, like, if my daughter, like, looks at what you're doing? I was like, of course I don't mind. Like, come on up. ended up like teaching these kids how to transition between Everything Is Awesome from the Lego movie and Baby Shark.
Come here, kid. I'm going to teach you about Tegan and Sarah. It's time you kids learned about gay pop music. Get over here, Junior.
I'm like, all right, Chaperone. Like, actually,
You
she
too,
wasn't out at
Caitlin.
the
Get
time.
over
Yeah.
here.
All right, here. The lesson's here.
We only play Chaperone Charlie XCX.
Honestly, I think kids would appreciate that, even if they had no idea what was going on.
No,
they'd be like, I'm so about.
I'm into
music.
this.
But yeah, no, I mean something like that. I think watching someone's eyes like light up, like watching these kids be like, oh, that's how you go from this song to this song. That's great. Like, it's such a cool thing to, like, I've been that person so many times where, like, you know, my grandpa was a jazz pianist and, like, he would show me, like, here's how you play a seventh chord. And I'd be like,
that's crazy.
You just press that note too. But yeah, I think that, you know, that happens much more organically and much more humanistically when you do it in person. It can be hard to read tone in messages too. Yeah, like,
agreed.
I'm like an overly smiley face exclamation point person for that reason.
Yeah,
like,
I getcha.
Yeah.
I wanted also to ask you, because you had mentioned you are working or just finishing up a third project. So I wanted you to be able to talk about that.
Yeah. So this project is my third artist project. So S2sx is the third artist project that I've like launched out. I've got like, so prior I was Slow Shutter. That was my project and I still do stuff under that name, in like pop, electronic pop, but I wanted a freeing, kind of anything goes approach to production. And I felt like with Slow Shutter, I was very, boxed in by, the genres that I had previously worked within.
Genres will do that.
Yeah. And I was like, I need to like start a new project with intention to be like anything goes. And I would play, you know, gigs as Slow Shutter. I played this party that my friend Tyler ran in Seattle called Rave Harder, where I'd be playing like, you know, hard dance, like 170 BPM hard dance. People would be like, are you going to be making stuff like this as Slow Shutter? And I was like, no.
Not the brand.
I just want to play it tonight. Like, it's working. So yeah, I feel like with S2XS, it's like a bit more, I started it like, I actually like put out Nightcore edits under that name in like friggin' 2017, 2018. Yeah. And at that time, it was just like Slow Shutter XS is like what I thought of it, like all my like edits and bootlegs and things. And then I have this like project that I haven't put anything out under yet called Extra Spice, where I'm like, oh, that's also XS, so it works for both. But yeah, with S2XS, I'm mainly like trying to dig into like my DJ roots. Like club music is like what I've felt like it inspires me the most. Like, it
is in your blood and veins.
Yes. So. It is in my blood and veins. Like, I feel like breaks, club, any sort of like just like party focused dance music. So that was the approach, and I was like, I'm gonna start producing stuff to release like properly in this style, under this name. So yeah, that's like where it all got started. And yeah, I feel like people will be like, oh yeah, I just want to stick with one name and like keep building it and like it'll change and evolve over time. And I feel like that works too, but for me, like it's helpful for my brain to be like, okay, this is where I do this and this is where I do that. And for me, I had to be like, this is where I do everything. It's a new name. Like,
I think that's fine. And I think that if that helps you inhabit the persona of what you're doing, then I think all the better. I think you should creatively do what feels right. Like if you don't want to wear a Santa Claus suit in July because it don't feel right.
Yeah. I mean,
don't wear that name when it's that genre, you know, like, I think people should have the freedom to do that. I
almost wore my Santa Claus suit today, and I was like,
you had the option.
I know. I was like, you know, it's just too hot. It's too hot. But the beard would have been fun. You know, I do enjoy rocking the big beard, but no, I feel like, yeah, it's something where persona wise, I do feel like I do get like self-conscious about like being, like, not having privacy. Like I can be like kind of like the thought of that, and something with this project that I realized is like that's always something that's within my control. Like I can choose to share however much I want to share or not.
Which is important these days.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's pretty easy to attract the wrong. I'm always surprised how I can have such a low follower account and like the weirdos and the hateful people will still find me. Like you have to put some effort into that. I'm not really that much out there in this world.
I can give you some looking under the hood like reasons for why, and it's because of the like reaction. So if someone's algorithm is realizing that, I mean, not like it has a sentient kind of way of realizing, but if the programming is like this person will react by commenting on this type of photo or this type of video, they don't know like what the comment is. Like the algorithm isn't tracking that. But because someone has commented something either positive or hateful on another video like this, the algorithm
may like to hate this video.
Literally, it'll be like, would you like to hate this video?
Next? I really feel like that. I mean, it's just driving really cheap, bad engagement.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. I can see that.
It's all basically just to keep people within the platform. Like the platform, all the people programming these things within each platform, one of their major goals is to keep you there. As long as you're on there, like that's why links don't work as well. If you like port someone out, like, sign up for the...
Unless they have a little deal going. Because I know YouTube and TikTok have a really great relationship because TikTok is not interested in long form the way YouTube is. So they're fine with that. But other platforms may not.
Yeah.
So.
No, there's definitely like different incentives there where if the platform is going to profit... I mean, they'll let you go click whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't care.
If they're not, that's something, it's basically like comments, likes, watch time, all of these different markers will keep people either like, within their own algorithms, either For You page or Explore page, or it's something where, if you're on the other side of it, it'll also keep you there because you're going to be like, why is this person
there's intruders
hating on me? And so it's a double whammy. It's definitely interesting to me because...
Right, I know we can talk for 100 hours, but I feel like we're going to hang out and talk about a billion things. We have a lot of business things. Kids, we got business things to talk about later. But before we go, I wanted you to drop the socials of where people can find you if they want to hear more of your music. So any platforms.
Yeah. I'm mainly active on Instagram right now. It's just s2sx and then 2 underscores after it. So it's like s2sx underline. You can find me on there. I should probably make accounts for the other ones.
Where do you like to distribute your music?
So I'm going to have my first track coming out under this project. Well, I have some like older stuff on SoundCloud, but I'm going to have my first track coming out under this with a remix compilation from my friend Cralius. That'll be in November, it's looking like. And that'll be on, all platforms like obviously like Spotify, Apple Music, etc., but also Bandcamp, SoundCloud.
But yeah, that's kind of all I have for you. I want to thank you for all the effort. It was a commute to get here.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you for coming down. Thank you for blessing the decks.
Yes.
And thank you for being on the rice cooker.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Let's say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody on the rice cooker.
Bye. We did it.
Together.
Woo.